Mark Meirowitz, a professor at State University of New York Maritime College. So, Mark, we didn't hear very optimistic words on Iran today from Antony Blinken. And granted, he wants to send a tough message to Iran, but this sounds very much like the same old impasse that we've all grown quite used to.
Well, it's not just an impasse. It's also pretty bizarre. I mean, think about it. The United States is negotiating with Iran. There's one hotel where the P4 and 1 are sitting with Iran. The main negotiator is China, which is antagonistic now to the U.S. And the U.S. is sitting in another hotel, and they're supposed to find out what's going on. So if you think there's an impasse, I don't know what you call that, but that sounds just actually ridiculous. As far as Iran, it's very intransigent in this negotiation, you know, they just keep that's their approach. They keep being intransigent until they feel that you know, the other parties are going to give in.
Also, you have this situation in Afghanistan when thousands, possibly tens of thousands of people who aided the U.S. over 20 years of war now need help. They need to basically be saved from the Taliban, and the U.S. is trying to get them out in dribs and drabs. So we're looking at a few thousand of these interpreters and others and their families that the U.S. would like to kind of station in other countries in the meantime before they can be accepted to the U.S. One of those is Kuwait. How likely is this to happen? And it doesn't sound like a very big deal for Kuwait to help out in this way.
Well, if you look at the trip, it's very interesting, the trip to Kuwait and also India. Blinken was in India, went to Kuwait.
Yep.
This is all about American foreign policy. And the big issues right now are Afghanistan and China. As far as Kuwait is concerned, I mean, one would be optimistic. And I think it's more than just a few thousand. I mean, we United States contractors and interpreters, I mean, the number is very large. And we really cannot abandon these people who were very loyal to the U.S. And when Taliban takes over Afghanistan, that is going to be a catastrophe and a cataclysm. We've already seen the precursors. Now, the thing about India, it's very important. India is a pivotal ally of the U.S. in terms of China, but also in terms of Afghanistan. People don't realize the importance of India and Afghanistan. So this is a multi-pronged approach, dealing with Afghanistan withdrawal, hopefully bringing the contractors and interpreters to a safe haven, and that's part of the Kuwait visit. Look, Kuwait should remember that it's the United States that sent troops to expel the Iraqi forces from Kuwait from Saddam Hussein's invasion. So, I mean, I don't think it's a big ask on the part of the United States to help with these very, very good people that need to be saved. I mean, simple humanitarian also as well.
Absolutely. I also like the way the U.S. at the beginning of any meeting with Kuwait reminds them, remember back in 1991 when we saved you from Iraq? And by the way, we need your help on some other issues. But we heard Tony Blinken today say that Kuwait is a critical ally, including on the issue of Israel and Palestinians. But, you know, we've seen other countries in the region, Bahrain and the UAE, normalize relations. Saudi Arabia and Oman are working on it. What about Kuwait's relationship with Israel? How likely are we to see some normalization happen there?
I think that the remarks of the Kuwaiti, I don't know if it was an emir, but whoever was speaking, a foreign minister, really didn't embrace that idea very much. He basically said that the main issue in the Middle East is Palestinian issue, the two-state solution. Whatever he said, he did not think that the trajectory of the road was on the Abraham Accords. Yeah. So does that mean it's game over? I don't think so, because if you recall the press conference that President Trump had with the leaders of Bahrain and the others who participated in the Abraham Accords, it was very clear that each of them made very clear and said, we do support the solution of the Palestinian issue. So it's not that that's off the table. I think there's a little bit of a dance of politics here as well. I don't think it would be, at this point, prudent for the Kuwaitis to just stand up and say, we just like that and we're going to do it. The way this gets done, I think, is really more behind closed doors in negotiations and not outwardly. But look, it's good that the United States is still promoting the Abraham Accords, because why that's important is because, to take it all the way back to your first point, was Iran. I mean, these countries are getting together with Israel because they're worried about Iran. You know, it's kind of the enemy of my enemy is my friend, you know, quoting The Godfather, I suppose, a famous movie. But the point being that the unity there is not it's a question of pragmatism. So Kuwait may come around if it can do it in a way that, that in terms of the visuals or the perceptions will not be problematic for it. And after all, the United States has troops in Kuwait. Kuwait is a major oil producer in the world, so it's a close ally of the U.S. So this trip really, although it has a lot of visuals, is very, very substantive, I think, and very, very important.
And conspicuously, not much said on that Israeli-Palestinian issue today. Mark, great talking to you.